So good afternoon, everybody. Hello and welcome to the National Association of Catering Events, our continuing webinars that we have been presenting. This actually is being put on, the organized main organization is the Greater Broward and Palm Beaches in association with the NACE chapters of Charlotte, Northeast Florida, Orlando, Greater Miami and Beaches, and the Tampa Bay area. So I just want to say thank you to those associations that have been pushing it out to their organizations. And also I want to say thank you to our National Association for loving everything that we're doing so much that you guys decided that you were going to broadcast it nationally. That's really cool. So obviously this is just the first of many that we're going to be doing today. I just want to say hello to Elizabeth. Elizabeth is an award-winning planner and manager of the Seattle branch of Bridal Bliss. Elizabeth is a data-driven force in the industry with a wealth of knowledge about business development and growth from over a decade of on-the-ground work. While working with sister-in-law Nora at Bridal Bliss, she saw a gap in the industry for a digital solution that would make the contract and invoice process more efficient and collaborative for a couple and their event team. Isn't that true? In 2018, Elizabeth and Nora came together to launch Rock, Paper, Coin, the very solution that they had been seeking for years at Bridal Bliss. Since then, she has been committed to supporting and educating our industry professionals through thought leadership in regards to sales, organization, budgeting, market growth, and enhancing the client experience. Elizabeth, it is so great to finally meet you in person because we've been emailing back and forth. And I think this is super important. This is such a great subject, especially because most of us don't know how to write great emails. I mean, we're just so used to just going along with it. And I was actually telling you right before the broadcast is that one of my favorite classes of all time was actually by the Ritz-Carlton, where they taught us how to write great emails. And of course, I've forgotten all of it. So I think it's super important that, we cover this subject, especially now when all of our communication seems to be electronic. That in person is now something of almost to the past.
Yep, it is so true. I am so excited to be here, and thank you so much for having me. I am very excited just to dive in and share a bunch of tried and true tricks and email hacks so everyone can take a moment and kind of like reassess their communication over email.
Well, and I love this because we're already up to 64 people watching us. And I know that that's going to be literally, that number is going to continue to grow up, but that number actually covers everybody from Florida to Hawaii. So, and it keeps going up. So I'm actually going to turn it over to Elizabeth. I just want to, first of all, mute my dogs because welcome to the world of technology. And Elizabeth, take it on.
I will. Well, thank you so much, you guys. Just as a note, this is being recorded and we're going to share it. I also have a little link at the end for a download of a bunch of the screenshots. So, as we go through this, there's also a Q&A section. And feel free to ask as many questions at the end. I'm happy to go into a robust Q&A section with all of you. So with that, I'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to turn off my camera while we do our presentation here. All right, so you guys, mastering email as an event professional. I am very passionate about this topic. I'd like to start off by just saying, like, what really works well at all hours and all days? And the answer is absolutely nothing. Even robots that are taking over some automation in the workforce, they have to rest for 1 hour out of the 24-hour day. So it's really important that we recognize that, we cannot work well if we are trying to work all hours, all days. We need a work-life balance. And I became very passionate about this topic about 4 years ago. I was emailing with my brother who lived on the East Coast at about 2 a.m. And I was like, what is going on? Like, I just feel like I'm swamped. I'm buried in emails. He was feeling the same. And we really became dedicated to spending the next 6 months trying to work through some better email management practices. And through books and webinars and, different speakers, we were able to kind of comb together some practices that worked really well for us. And I have since really given this topic and this presentation across the nation to try and better formulate some tips for everybody to have a better email management system. So why tackle this topic today? And especially right now, I just want to recognize that right now with COVID and all of these wedding postponements, we have been given this really unique opportunity. Everything is on pause and it's super hard for our businesses right now, but it's also giving us the time to reflect inward on the company. How are you managing your business? What areas, can you automate? What areas can you better streamline? So it's important to tackle this topic in general, but especially right now, we're given this unique opportunity of a little bit of a slowdown time. And we did not get into the wedding industry to answer emails and stay behind our computer screens. We got in the industry to bake cakes, build gorgeous floral arrangements. We're creative industries. So if you're stuck behind your computer and if you're stuck on email, that's a problem. We need to reorganize, take back that time so that you can better serve your clients and your business. So how many hours a day do you spend on email? And I want you just to kind of think about this question and just get an average answer. The average person, according to a study done by Adobe in 2019, is 5 hours. Now, this might sound like a lot. Maybe it doesn't actually sound like that much, or you're in the middle somewhere. But I think what it highlights is that we're all spending time on email. So it's important that we are all better equipped to manage our inboxes with this statistic. Right now, we are currently serving a lot of millennials, but we do need to keep in mind that Generation Z is up and coming. And there's two statistics that I think are pretty alarming and very important to highlight. And the first is that 92% of couples that are booking today are reporting that email speediness is really important to them. And then on the opposite, 81%, and this is related to Generation Z, are checking their emails multiple times a day. So why am I taking two statistics, one from millennials that we're serving right now and one from Generation Z that's up and coming? And I think what this really highlights is that our current clients and future clients are on email pretty much all the time, and they're going to be expecting an immediate response. So how are we going to do a good job of keeping up with that expectation and managing that expectation if we are not managing our day-to-day over email? So let's just take a moment and think, do you need help? So are you finding yourself working long hours, awful hours, weird hours, whatever it is? Are you just not happy with how your current schedule is set up? Are you letting your email sit for more than 12 hours? This is a really important piece that I am very passionate about. And can you see the bottom of your inbox? If not, that's a problem. We need to address it. And then are you rewriting the same email over and over again? Again, let's automate, let's streamline. If you are any of these things, or if you have an idea of why you might need email help, I am very excited that you're here today. So I'm going to walk you through really a step-by-step process into how to have a better email system and management system. So the first is going to be a folder structure. The idea of using a folder structure is to leave your inbox really as clean as possible. Anything in your inbox should be like action items, a to-do list, and the rest needs to be filed away. So let's start by breaking down kind of that folder structure. If you're using a folder structure right now, I'm very excited for you. If you're not, we're going to dive right into this. I actually pulled up my folder structure. That's the screenshot right here of what I'm currently using. I work really well with chronologically. So I usually start off with those larger yearly folders, like a 2020. And within each of that, I'm going to have subfolders for all of my clients. So you can see I have a 2020 for my current clients, and then the subfolders are all going to be labeled by the client's first names. Now I highlight that because that is how I refer to my clients. I refer to them by their first names. If you refer to your clients by their event date or by their last name, it's really important for your folder structure to be labeled how you refer to your clients. You want your folders to be like second nature. When you're filing something away, how do you refer to that client? Great, file it away. If not, it's going to create a little bit of a hiccup. You're going to spend time searching for it, and it's a waste of time. You also need to remember to have some admin folders. So taxes, payroll, whatever it is, you just need to make sure. Then for all of those past clients, I have a completed folder, and this completed folder again is organized by a larger chronological, and everything gets moved into there at the end of the year. Your folder structure, I'm going to be honest, is completely worthless if you don't use it. So what I need is for everybody to commit to filing every single email away. All right, I love this. So I've actually added in this slide because I would get some questions like, I actually just love to have all of my emails in my inbox and I use the search function and it's great, it works for me. So let's just talk a moment about why I don't love this idea. A search function is great. I use it when I'm searching for an email, but a search function is not going to tell you a few things. Have you replied to that email? Is the client waiting on a response from you? Are you waiting on a response from that client? By leaving everything in your inbox, you are allowing a gap, and that gap is going to lose track of those emails. So if you have it, you just really need to be mindful. Consider your inbox a to-do list. Everything that is in your inbox is an action item. Everything else needs to be filed away. So once we have our folder system all set up, the next step I want to walk through is tackling that full inbox. So what do you do when you sit down to a really full inbox, or if you have a really full inbox right now? Let's kind of work through that. So first, just a couple like highlight things. You really want to start by setting up a calendar time to delete all of that like junk, spam, all of the unnecessary noise and clutter in the inbox. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But the first thing you want to do as you pull up that inbox, get rid of that clutter, delete everything out of there so that the items in your inbox are truly the ones that are needing your attention. I work really well with a first in, first out approach. So I'm going to start at the bottom of my inbox and I'm going to open up the very last email. Now, this is where a great rule of thumb comes in. If that email can be replied to in less than 3 to 4 minutes, reply immediately. Don't even think about it. Just sit down, hit reply, type away your email. If that email is going to take more than that, kind of 3 to 4 minutes, reply quickly and just say you're working on an answer and you'll be back in touch. Then leave that email in your inbox. You're going to go through your inbox using that same 3-minute rule. So the next email, open, do the same thing, all the way until you've worked through the entire inbox. Now, the important thing to note here, if you reply to an email and that email is now done, you need to file it away immediately after replying. So when you sit back now, your email inbox should really just be more of the action items, the to-dos, what needs to be still answered, and it's going to take a little bit of time. So now you have all of your important emails left in your inbox, and you need to kind of start to consider how long it's going to take for each of them to be completed. And I'm going to be honest that this process, when you're thinking about it, it might take a little bit of time to get used to being in a rhythm with it. But once you're in a really good rhythm, this is going to be an incredibly efficient manner to tackling an inbox. So the first thing that I like to highlight is I personally use a Gmail with my email integration. And I know a lot of people use Outlook, and so I'm happy to kind of share some of those tips, but these screenshots are going to be from Gmail. So when you have your to-dos left in your inbox, you now need to do some project management. So there's 2 approaches. You can use Task, which is part of Gmail, or you can use your calendar. The idea is that when you have a email that needs a reply to, and it's a project-based email, you can then switch over to your calendar and you can build out the exact amount of time that it's going to take for you to reply to that email, building out that window of time. That's a little bit more of a like micromanaged approach, having each of those emails. So if that works really well for you, I absolutely encourage you to use that approach. For me, I work a little bit better in a more general sense. So the task function is a great function for me. I can pull up the task, which is a blue circle with a yellow dot from the home page, or if you're in email, it's actually a checkbox with a plus sign. It's going to pull open a little like side tab bar where you can then enter notes about this email. So I like to enter in, what do I need to complete the project and how long is it going to take for me to complete it? When I've gone through all of the emails that need a longer reply to, I then tally up all of that time, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours, and then I break that into larger chunks on my calendar for the next couple of days. I then am able to manage those tasks and prioritize them based on when my schedule is going to allow for it and if a client is needing an immediate response. So again, just to highlight, the task function in Gmail is great, but you can also use it on your calendar as well, building out more structured time to create response times and project times for those to-dos in your inbox. So getting into a good email habit is essential. And I really like to highlight this is essential because it gives you and the client predictability. That is a place we really want to get to, a place of predictability. It's going to put your clients at ease and it's going to put you at ease. If you know your schedule is well managed and the chunks of time are blocked out, you're not going to wake up in the middle of the night wondering, oh my gosh, I forgot to reply to that proposal, or oh, I need to get back to this client. If you say you're going to get back to somebody by a certain time, you must do so. It's really important, again, for that predictability, even if it's just to tell them that you need more time and you're working on getting that answer for them. So there are definitely some tools out there that we can explore as far as automation and helping to ease your inbox. So when you think about your emails, and I need you to think, where are you spending your time? Like, is there anywhere that you can automate? Clients today, they really like that personalization, but they do expect some automation. So let's lean into that a little bit. I want to touch base on kind of the templates and canned responses. You know, automation is great. There's pros and cons. It saves you time and money. It's going to streamline your workflow, but it is going to strip out some of that authenticity. So we do need to be careful. And then what message is an automated response sending? So templates and canned responses, again, this is a screenshot from Gmail, so I'm happy to share a little bit after about how Outlook might be different. But canned responses, I think that they sometimes do get a bad, rep for like stripping out that authenticity of an email, but they really can be useful for certain situations. I think it's all true. We probably all know when we're getting like a canned or an automated response. So if you want to set the right tone, I think that you need to personalize those canned responses a little bit every time you're sending it. Use a template. Create a template and then customize it by highlighting items in red and just showing where you can, really make it that the client sees that you're responding to their email. In Gmail, their templates, canned responses is a little bit hidden, so I always like to point this out. It's the 3 dots next to the trash can. It's going to pull up a little arrow for templates, which you can click on, and then you can either create a new template or save a template, and then from there it will allow you to customize it. I think a great way for a great place for customizing your templates, like let's say if it's a new inquiry response, are names and dates that you maybe pulled from the inquiry form, a venue if you know that, detail. It's really easy to just pull some of that information and still allow a little bit personalization in a template. This is a hotly debated item, if you should automate your inquiries or not, and I'm happy to dive into this more in the Q&A section. I think the answer is no. You should not automate your inquiry responses, but I do think you should use a template. I've shown you here just a quick snapshot of a template where the items are highlighted in red and what I want to personalize. I'm a pretty firm believer when it comes to your inquiries, they are already interested in your business. They're inquiring, they want to know more. So they're little pieces of gold. You did not have to go out and sell to this person, they're coming to you. So you should really take that opportunity to treat them like a potential customer. Show them how you would handle them if they were to book with you. I think this goes a very long ways instead of now just sending a blanketed automated response. Of course, I totally understand if you need to get a ton of information out there, and if you are booked or whatever, there are ways that you can use a template and include a lot of information, but simply sending an automated response to an inquiry, I think should be avoided if at all possible. So when to use a canned response, I think it's important that we highlight where you might be like spending a lot of your time? Are you recreating emails over and over for the same events and weddings? So inquiries, that's definitely one place that we just touched on. Consult follow-ups, thanking somebody from their time, sharing more information with them. Meeting reminders, super easy, just, drop in the new date and time. Any timeline reviews, if that's with a client or with a vendor. Your day of vendor emails, if you're sending out anything to communicate with a team on an event. Wedding day or event day reminders, and then asking for reviews after the event has taken place. These are all great ways to save yourself some time and build out some templates. So when do you automate? Now, in today's world, as I mentioned, we do expect some automated emails. And I think a couple of those, one in particular is a payment reminder. A lot of our clients are not writing down or making calendar notes when they sign our contracts about when payments are due. So we need to make it easy for them. And I think, they're juggling a lot, we're juggling a lot, so why not automate these payment reminders? No one's gonna think twice about receiving an automated response for this. And I actually think they'll be appreciative so that they don't have to remember those dates. You don't have to then spend the time tracking down these payments, and I think it's well worth it. So when should you do this? And I think, again, invoices and contracts are super important to automate. You can set up reminders for your signatures and payments, and you can set up payment plans with due dates that align better with your business and cash flow. Obviously, depending on what your wedding season is like in your market, I think it's important that we actually take a chance to say what works well for my business, what are my cash flow needs, and then set up payment plans that work really well for that. The last thing that we need to be spending time on is chasing down payments, reminders, chasing down signatures on contracts. There are applications out there that can do this all for you. So spend the time on what matters. Automate this process. Autoresponder is an interesting thing, and there really isn't like an industry standard of when to use this. There are those people who put it on every night and saying, I'm out at the office, like I'm not at my computer anymore. And then there's those that, never use it. And I think that we should get into better email practice of landing somewhere in the middle. We want to get you to a place where you can really turn this on if you truly are not going to be able to respond within 24 hours during the week and 48 hours over the weekend. I think the auto response does send a little bit of a mixed message if it's a new client or a vendor inquiring about date availability and they receive an auto response. Even if it's just saying that you've stepped away from your computer, what message is it sending? Because as the receiver of that autoresponder, how do you feel? Do you think, oh, I hope they remember to reply to it? Or, oh, like, are those dates right? Maybe they're gone for a little bit more time. You start to kind of second guess it a little bit. So I think it's good to just call out and see what are you currently using it for and why. Is it because your inbox is overwhelmed with emails and you truly can't be answering emails for 24 hours? It's not the best place to have it on. So we should definitely look into having that and cleaning up your inbox so you don't have to have it on all the time. I've included a snapshot here of a auto response that I've used. And I personally think it's important to highlight an auto response if you are currently on site and working a wedding. And this is for a couple of reasons. A lot of our clients, they think that we work all hours, all days because we are on events. So they're like, oh, but they're working on a Saturday. But as we all know here, that doesn't mean we're on our emails. And so it's important to highlight to them that you're currently working on an event. If a vendor is trying to get in touch with you about that event, it's really important to put what event you're working at so that they know to text or call you. You're not on your email. We're running around on event days. So I think it's good just to get into better habit about when and how to use your autoresponder. There are some favorite tech apps that I think will also help make your lives a lot easier, and really spending some time to explore some technology to streamline email is important. So the first one, Slack. This is important. If you're part of a company that has more than 2 employees, and a lot of your inbox are internal emails, you need to download a messaging platform. Your email should be project-based, it should be client-based, it should not be for your office communication. I recommend Slack. It's just a free online messaging platform, so I think it's great. We use it at our company, and I love it. It's going to allow your team to communicate in real time. You can send files, you can upload pictures, you can have private messages, you can, send links. I mean, you get the point. It's an amazing platform that is going to take all of that office communication and put it in one place. So this doesn't have anything directly to do with the inbox, but if a lot of your emails are related to office communication, then you definitely need to move that more into a messaging platform. Next is Screencastify, and again, these are all free apps that I love. This is a browser extension, and it's a recording app. Part of where I love using Screencastify is if my email that I'm starting to write is becoming too long or is taking up too much of my time, I turn on and I record a quick video about what I need to say, what I need to explain. Screencastify allows you to either record yourself or record your screen. So if you're somebody that needs to walk a client through a proposal and you want to add that personalized touch, this is a great way to do it. You no longer have to go through and type out a big long email, waste a lot of your time. Flip over, record yourself. It's also great right now because no in-person client meetings are happening. So by recording yourself and sending it to a client, it's going to allow that personality really to shine through. They're going to hear your voice, maybe see you, and you can walk them through a proposal. You can walk them through, how to access something on your website. I think it's a great tool. Next is Unroll Me, and this is what I mentioned at the very beginning, is if you are spending a lot of time like deleting out junk or spam, Unroll Me is a free website. You can go in, log into your email. It's going to take maybe about 15 seconds. It's going to pull all of your subscription-based emails, and it's going to put them in an organized list. You can then go through and unsubscribe with one click to all of these, hundreds, thousands of emails that you've subscribed to, and really clear up the inbox clutter that way. So this is a great one. And then last but not least is a calendar link. I didn't put up a specific brand. There's so many out there. So I would, really encourage you to just look and see what's good for you. There is, calendar. These calendar links are going to be email extensions. So it is going to be a link that's in your email signature that is going to allow for a client to schedule a meeting directly with you. These calendar links, you can set the time. So you could say, I'm available from 9 to 5, and it's going to cross-reference it with your current calendar, seeing when you're available. It will then present the available time slots to that potential client in inquiry, whatever it is that you're sending the email. So by using a calendar link, you no longer have to go through the, when does this work for you? Can we meet? What time? Okay, and how many people? It's going to streamline it. If somebody's requesting a meeting, say, great, feel free to hop on my schedule and include that link. You no longer have to waste time spending emails on that. So these are just, again, a couple of the tech apps. So Slack, Unroll, Screencastify, and then a calendar link. So as we kind of, think about switching over to a little bit more of a Q&A, I do want to just take a moment and kind of wrap up with some homework. So really starting by blocking out your schedule for those email hours. I think this is very important. It's going to allow your schedule to become more predictable for you and your clients. Think about that task versus calendar. How do you want to manage your inbox? Do you want it to be a little bit more micromanaged and have it where every email is blocked out on your calendar? Or do you want to take a larger approach with a task or a notepad where you're counting up all of the time and blocking out into bigger chunks? Setting up your folder system, it's really important you take the time to create folders that you can find by labeling them, how you refer to your clients, setting up larger folders, and keeping it really clean. You also have to commit to filing every single email away. I know I just probably sound like a broken record, but it's really important that you get into that habit. That's going to be able to keep your inbox clean. Creating templates, look into what emails are you constantly sending over and over again. Create some templates right now, highlight them in red, and then be able to save them to use later on. Do you want to automate your contract and invoice process? If so, look into a couple different options. What's out there? What's going to be best for you? And then sign up for some tech apps. So I'll go ahead and leave this right here. If you would like to connect with me, I would love that. I also have a bit.ly link that we can also share with everybody. This is going to be a download walking you through some step-by-steps for those screenshots that I shared and just a couple of reminders. So I'll switch back on. I'll stop and we can kind of move more into the Q&A format. I'll see. Keith, do you want to come back
on? Oh, so Elizabeth, it's Amanda. So one question Marcy had was, how do you find the calendar link?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I'm here. I couldn't figure out how to unmute my microphone. Sorry.
No problem. So there's a couple different extensions, and it depends really what email you're using, but the calendar links, there's a lot of different companies and tech out there. So you can just, depending on your email, I would just look up for calendar, meeting request integrations and just see what works best for you. They're mostly all free and wonderful.
All right, so I don't know. Anybody else have any other questions? I don't actually see any questions in the
okay, so
section.
there's one more. There's a couple more questions. So any recommendations on how to clean up emails with thousands of past emails without spending hours?
Yes, that is a great question, and I actually love answering that one. So what I would do is sort it by date and just drop larger chunks of emails into, again, those kind of like yearly dates. So if you want to search by 2019, drop all your 2019 emails into a folder. If you then want to spend the time going back through and refiling those ones, then that's great. Otherwise, you'll be able to reference those emails just in that larger yearly folder.
And then one more question from Britt is, do you have a tip for how to organize inquiries in folders before they go to contract?
Yes, absolutely. That is a great question. And I like to have a inquiry folder that is, again, just inquiries. And then I have a contracted folder. And again, this is all under that big, 2020 calendar year. So within that larger calendar year, I will sometimes have up to like 20 folders, clients, and then inquiry management. I will have like a projects, some of the admin stuff. So managing your inquiries into an inquiry folder and then moving them into a contracted folder. Once you get them signed, they drop right into a client folder. I think it's important to note to not get into a habit of creating a client folder until they have signed a contract and paid a deposit. That does add to a little bit of the folder clutter that you want to keep as clean as possible. We all have those clients who have the best of intentions of booking. They say they want to book, we'll create a folder, we'll spend some time on it, but I would recommend leave it just in your contracted folder until they're actually booked, and then you start your client folder.
Excellent.
And then when is a good time to delete? Is it past a certain year? Is there a certain time when you delete, or what's your recommendation?
Well, I personally don't love deleting big folders in clients. And everybody is going to have their own comfort here. But if I, worked at a venue 7 years ago and a new client books me, I love to be able to reference, what was I doing at that venue? Did I have any notes about oddities for load in, load out? What was the vendor feedback? I think it's important to hold on to those. And, of course, there are folders that we no longer need, maybe clients that didn't end up getting married. You know, there are things that you can delete, but as far as like a completed wedding, I do keep that, and I just have it all organized again in the completed folder, so it doesn't clutter up my inbox, but I can access it if needed.
Okay, one more. Can you please
One more.
repeat, yeah, the filing method one more time? Just, you know, the high level.
Yes, high level. Great question. So rule of thumb is 3 to 4 minutes. So work it in the first in, first out, which means you would go to the bottom of your inbox. You will pull up that very first email that is your oldest email, and then answer that if you can within 3 to 4 minutes. And if you can, answer it and then file it away and move it out of your inbox. If you get to an email that you can't answer, then leave it in your inbox. And again, you're kind of like working through your inbox up to the top. And then when you're done, you're going to have a handful of emails that you will then move over to that project management calendar versus task and really build out when you're going to be spending your time. I think, you know, kind of hand in hand with this is, you know, setting set hours for your email and when you're going to be on email is really important. It's easy to be on your email, and when you get a new notification, it's like, ooh, something shiny, and you know you can go and check it. But that's not good project management. And so you want to get into the habit of having more set email hours. I do check my email in the morning. I set aside time again in the afternoon, and once at the end of the day. And that just allows me to better manage my time so that I'm not constantly on email. And because if you are, then you're not going to have time for that project management and those emails that are taking up, you know, more time to reply to.
And
That's excellent.
yeah, and then do you also, is it by project type and then by individual clients? Is that normally how you do it? Is that how you?
If this question is about the folder structure, then yes. So I'll have a yearly folder, so like a 2020, and then you know for all of my wedding planning clients, then I would have a subfolder with all of those clients. If I have like an inspiration shoot, then I would have that as a subfolder under again the yearly. And so the yearly folder is kind of broken down even into subfolders, and then again another set of subfolders for your clients.
That's excellent. I mean, I'm a huge Outlook fan, and so one of the things about Outlook, obviously, is sometimes the subfolders aren't available in the favorite section up top, so you end up using the bottom section. But I think that if you are a fan of Outlook, you kind of understand that you know the subcategories aren't going to be available in your favorite section.
Yes, correct. And with Outlook, they do have a much easier template, kind of like build out canned responses than Gmail. They do a much better job of making that available.
So do we have any other questions before we bring this to a close? I'm gonna assume that means no. So Elizabeth, by the way, thank you so much for being a part of this. I know that our days are crazy right now, and so for you to come on and be able to share your knowledge with all of our NACE members has been huge. We had close to 100 people at one point watching today's presentation, so I'm super proud of that, and I hope that you're also super proud of it. By the way, if you're watching right now, we are recording this. We will make it available to you guys later. So we will be sending this obviously to Elizabeth so she can also use it for her promo material. Tomorrow, we are going to be with Christy doing marketing for recovery. Marketing for recovery. There you go. I mean, because all of us have kind of been going through it. And, you know, here we are starting to ramp back up into being in full business. And what does that mean? And how do we go about doing that while being, you know, conscious of the fact that it hasn't been such a great time for people? You know, how do we make it super positive? And then also, I just again want to say thank you to the Charlotte, Northeast Florida, Orlando, Greater Miami Beaches, Tampa Bay chapters of NACEs for being a NACE for being a support on this. Thank you, NACE National, also for being a part of this. One of the things that I actually was going to throw in really quick is that I've been taking this time to say thank you notes to my former clients, saying that the best form of business is referrals. And so sometimes it's just important. So I've been sending them, you know, this little card, which is like made of colored pencils and stuff. And it says that, and basically I write in it, your wedding was a work of art. you know. But I think you have to do what makes you feel good, right? And this definitely shows off like my personality. But again, if you have time, anything that's communication wise, reaching out to people is everything right now. So many people feel so alone. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Amanda, and Kathy. Thank you so much for helping me on the background, because this is like my first time using GoToWebinar. So that was awesome. And I hope everybody has a great evening. Thank you so much. And we will see you tomorrow at 3:30.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.